people have been brainwashed for such a long time to normalize the fact that somebody else needs to take care of your money, or that the money can only come from a government or a central bank. Once you break that and you understand that all of this is a scam that you need to get away from, you come to Bitcoin, which is essentially the only sound money we've ever owned. Bitcoin is an idea whose time has come. The genie's out of the bottle. This is like as revolutionary and world-changing as the electricity or the internet, probably more than both of them combined. Bitcoin's future is exponentially bigger than what you think you've missed in the past. Back then, there was like nothing, a handful of people paying attention to it. Now, there's 900 trillion worth of assets at some point that are going to be, funneled through this, and 8 billion people paying attention. So if you think you've missed the boat because you didn't get it at $1 or a penny, get that thought out of your head. Bitcoin at its current price, at 87, whatever it is price, that is going to be the equivalent of that 1 penny very, very soon. And when that day happens, it's because the fiat currency has completely collapsed to zero.
You bought Bitcoin. Now what? Most people, they don't know what comes next. Buying Bitcoin, it's one thing, but what happens after? Most people, they're just hoping that they don't mess up. I've brought on Tony Yazbeck, one of the leading world cybersecurity experts, helping you to protect your wealth, preserve your legacy, and take real control without getting overwhelmed. Tony, welcome back. How are you today, mate?
I'm great, Sean. Thank you for having me back, man. Always happy to be here with you.
It's always a pleasure. That conversation where you dove into your story with what happened with Lebanon when the bank shut down, it's the greatest conversation that I think that I've ever had, but also one of the most telling. I'll link that below for everyone. Is pretty shocking. Like you have been through where when the government just steals your money, basically. And I've got a couple of concerns living here in Australia. They passed the budget a couple of days ago in time of recording, and superannuation is like our retirement accounts. They want to be able to tax unrealised gains over $3 million. Sounds like a lot of money, but they're debasing the money, Tony, at like 9% per year minimum. So it's not going to take that long, and it's not going to be adjusted for inflation. But like, what's going on in the world in regards to this? Like, we see the EU sort of saying the same thing. Wouldn't be surprised if Canada's got a similar policy. Like, what is this attack from the state on people's purchasing power and money?
Well, it's very simple, Sean. They're all bankrupt. None of these governments, they're all indebted up to the wazoo, and their Ponzi is at its expiry date. Like, we've reached the end of this scam, and now everything is falling apart, and they're desperately trying to patch it up to sort of like extend the inevitable. But the problem with that is that they have no way of fixing it. The only recourse available to them, because they're so, pathologically desperate to stay in power, these useless parasites that have wrecked people's lives, they insist on remaining in power because they genuinely believe they have the right to. Why not? The only way these guys are going to be able to sustain anything right now, unfortunately, is to steal people's funds. And they're going to do it, in my opinion, in one of two ways. One, either they're going to flat out lock out your funds, like they did in Lebanon, tell you, no more savings, it's gone. Or two, they're going to debase you to the point where they might as well have just taken your savings account because you can't buy anything with it anymore.
Yeah.
And you already start seeing this in the EU when they publicly announced that they are planning on seizing 10 trillion euros worth of unused private citizen savings.
Yeah.
What does that tell you? 10 trillion. Do you know how many zeros that is? So
I don't
if
actually.
you have your savings account sitting there, thinking you're going to be fine for retirement. What this means is that if you're lucky, if this goes through, if you're lucky, you will get a 50% haircut on your savings. Poof, gone, like this. Pure theft. This is how they're going to do it. This is how they're publicly stating they want to do it. It's complete criminal activity, but it's their product, right? And over the decades, they've managed to convince all of us that this worthless piece of toilet paper has value and that we have to use it. And not only do we have to use it, we have to pay taxes on it, right? So one, we're working for money that isn't money. That's one. Then they tax you on this garbage. So they take a big portion of it, let's say, depending where you live, 40 to 50%, that's already gone. And then they go ahead and they print it to oblivion because, of course, they want to live for free at the expense of you, me, and, everybody else. And so if you're making $2,000 a month, your realistic remaining purchasing power is what? 700, 800, maybe. That's in the good days. Now, that thing is on a highway to hell. That number is going all the way down to zero at a rate so fast, most people don't even see it. They see their lives becoming miserably more expensive. But for some inexplicable reason, they don't understand why, even though the signs are all over the place. It's an extremely terrifying situation to be in for those that are not aware of the cause behind this. I don't know what to tell you, man, but this is a message I've been pumping for as long as I can remember, that there is no fix for this from within the system. You cannot remain in the fiat system if you want any hope at all of securing your financial future.
Yeah.
Your money, the money you think is money, which isn't, is going to disappear. That is a mathematical certainty, in my opinion. I've seen this movie before. I've been talking about it for over 2 years now. These guys are bankrupt, but they're desperate to stay in power. And the only way they know how to do this is to steal, because their money, the fiat system, it was engineered to steal, censor, and control. So it's not surprising that all of these things are happening. We didn't realize the scam in the beginning because it was happening at such a slow pace. But like anything, everything has an expiry date. And now we are living that expiry date, which is almost historical. So luckily for us, someone, a gift to the universe, Satoshi Nakamoto, finally released Bitcoin. Because honestly, if we didn't have that beacon of hope, we'd all be completely screwed, painfully screwed. So brace yourself.
It's incredible times, and incredible, probably not in a good way. I guess within every crisis, there is opportunity. Tony, I believe most people watching this podcast are aware that Bitcoin is the solution, but for the person that isn't aware, welcome. My name's Sean. This is Tony. It's something worth taking the time to be able to study. But people that, especially here in Australia, unfortunately, I hear it all the time. Oh, Bitcoin, it's just magic internet money. It's a get rich quick scheme. It's a Ponzi scheme. Or they're like, no, that's not a problem. The money's fine. Then you talk about Lebanon, you talk about Venezuela and stuff, you talk about hyperinflation. They're like, that'll never happen here. No, it's okay. The government's going to look after us. How would you explain Bitcoin, just like in a simple way, for people that still believe it is that? It's that Ponzi scheme, magic internet money, etc.
Well, look, I don't blame them for having these thoughts. I also had these ideas running through my head that this is too good to be true when I first, came about Bitcoin. But the thing is, I'll rewind a little bit. I was retired, or I thought I was retired at a very early age. Like I had run 3 successful businesses, and through enough peer pressure, who suggested I should just like relax for a little while and just enjoy life, which I decided to do. And that was my tragic mistake. I also believed, that you go to work, you do something good, you get rewarded for it, you put your money in the bank, life's good. The banking system in Lebanon 30 years ago was the gold star rating of all banking systems. Most people don't even know this. Like for over 30 years, everybody wanted to copy the Lebanese banking system because it was so incredibly like amazing on every front. And when you were like an important customer at the bank, they would treat you like a king, right? So everything was super amazing. You wouldn't have any bloody thought in your head that in Lebanon, something like this would happen. No way, no way. Like we were better off than the most luxurious countries in the world, better than Europe, better than Beverly Hills. They had nothing on Lebanon during the good days. But all of that glamour ended overnight. As shocking as that sounds, that is exactly what happened. I was out to dinner one evening, and I woke up the next morning to the news that all bank accounts across the country are gone. What do you mean they're gone? Yeah, they're gone. ATMs, no more money. Call the bank, no answer at the bank. Access to savings, forget it. It's finished. Capital controls everywhere. Nobody has access to anything. Worse than that, if your savings were in US dollars, not even the local currency, they illegally took them, converted them to the local currency, which hyperinflated to like a billion %. So if you had like $1 million in a US bank account, your purchasing power in like almost no time was reduced to like $100. Can you imagine that scenario? Like I'm describing it and you think there's no way this is true. Go look it up. October 2019. It's all over the internet. Go look it up. You'll see what happened. This is exactly what happened. Yeah. But what they don't tell you what happened is what the result of this is. When you lock everybody out of their account and they wake up one day completely broke, what do you think their reaction is going to be?
Chaos.
It's complete lunacy, complete insanity. It's like take your most horrific video game and put it on extreme mode and let it run. That's what happens. People tearing things down, breaking ATMs, gunning their way into the banks. Why? They're not there to steal banks' money. They're there to retrieve their own savings, which do not exist anymore because the bank never had the money in the first place. But most people don't understand that. That is, I never understood this until my life exploded this way, which after many months forced me to find answers because I couldn't accept that something like this could happen to someone like me. So I had two options. Either I leave this world and I give up, or I figure a way out to get back on my feet and leave the right kind of legacy to all of those that depend on me. And I came to the decision, I'm going to find answers. And when I find it, they came for me, they missed. Now I'm coming for them. And so I dove deep into that rabbit hole. First of all, I understood that the money in the bank is not money. And second of all, it's not yours. So that is the first thing most people to this day still don't comprehend or want to believe. When you go to work, you get a paycheck, you put that paycheck in a bank. That is not money. That is a monopoly number on a screen. And worse, when you put it in the bank, it's no longer yours. You have seized control of that number to the bank. They owe it to you. But if the bank, for whatever reason, doesn't want to give it to you, they will not do so. And you're starting to see this. People going into the bank asking to withdraw $2,500 and they refuse because
that
they want
experience
to
this
know.
week.
They want to know what the hell you're spending it on. Your money. So that means you're asking permission from a nobody to use what you've been slaving 9 to 5 for your entire life, right? So that's when it clicks. It has to click. That's step one. You have to understand that this is rigged money. It's a rigged system. It's bullshit. It's complete garbage controlled by criminal. It's a criminal cartel. How else would you describe this? Right? So
can I just ask, maybe for a little bit of clarity, is that just like specific to Lebanon, or is that specific to everyone's money?
Everyone's money. The fiat currency is the same. It just takes different shapes and colors. You've got the euro, the dollar, the yen, but it's the same. It's the same scam. It's paper, toilet paper, in different designs, printed by whatever government is issuing it. What's backing up fiat money? Absolutely nothing. Hot air, poof. It's the word that the government, the big boys, back this up. That's all. Hot air, nothing. So, and it's a Ponzi built on debt. That means they have to keep printing this in order to keep that Ponzi going, right? In the beginning, like I said earlier, nobody really felt it because it was such a small, impact. But you fast forward all of these years, and the first sign of destruction was in 2008 when everything fell apart. And what happened then? They almost doubled the entire global money supply to bail out the same thieves that caused the collapse in the first place, instead of letting them go bankrupt. So the criminals were saved, but you, the people, who cares about you? Your purchasing power dropped 40%. Figure it out, man. You're a nobody. Nobody cares, right? So there was massive destruction back in 2008 for many, many people. Coincidentally, that was the same year that Bitcoin was born. Satoshi Nakamoto, whoever he is or they are, whatever it is, they must have been screwed by whatever happened, or really affected by it, where they said enough is enough. And Bitcoin was not the first time something like this was attempted. It's the first time something like this was actually successful. And so they released this product into the wild, hoping that it would gain enough legs while remaining unnoticed in the beginning, because that was a requirement. If governments back then were paying attention to it the same way they are now, they would have killed it. It was nowhere near ready. But they dismissed it. Funny money, bullshit, internet, Mickey Mouse stuff. Nobody looked. Great. That's all it needed. And fast forward, not that long, like a few years, it became so decentralized that when they started to clue in, they tried to attack it. Like if you look back in the last 15, 16 years, how many government attacks, were coming for Bitcoin? And with all of their unlimited resources, all of them failed spectacularly, because Bitcoin was designed to be attacked, after a certain stage. You attack it, you understand where it needs to be fortified, and this is what's happening. And the more people adopt it, the more nodes come online, the more the adoption grows, the more powerful it becomes. And now, 2025, forget it. There's nothing in this universe that can stop Bitcoin, right? Because, it's an idea. Bitcoin is an idea whose time has come. The genie's out of the bottle now. You're not going to put it back. This is like as revolutionary and world-changing as the electricity or the internet. Probably more than both of them combined, right? But in order to understand this and to get this level of conviction, you have to read up about it. Like if you're just listening to someone off the street telling you Bitcoin, you're going to automatically assume it's funny money. It's not funny money. This is real. Okay, it's real, and it's the product of probably decades of hard work, and it finally this iteration of it worked. And it's out. So people need to understand that step one, you're wasting your time and energy working for money that is not money. It's a control mechanism. Okay, you're basically a slave to a system that was created to keep you down. But now, for the first time ever, you have an option to exit that system. But that new system comes from the world of technology. Like, this falls right into my playground. And this was my beacon of hope almost after a year of darkness, trying to figure out a way of getting back up on my feet. And so when I came across Bitcoin the first time through an Andreas Antonopoulos video, I also had the precise same thoughts as 97% of people. It's a scam. The government will shut it down. Exactly the same thoughts. I'm like, all right, I've lost everything. I have nothing to my name now. All I have is time to see if this thing is real or not. And it comes from the tech world. This was the only thing I still had, what I had in here. So I started following up on it and reading and researching, and I tried to blow it up, to dismiss it. I'm like, this thing can't possibly be real. I'm sure there's like something to it. Let me see. I promise you, I spent many weeks trying to debunk and destroy Bitcoin with everything I knew. I failed spectacularly. And this is before I understood that governments, with all of their wonderful resources, they had also failed. So I'm like, if these losers couldn't do it, what am I going to accomplish, right? And that was way back then. Today, forget it. So, but it takes time to understand this. There's a lot of folks out there, those Bitcoin maxis, that are trying to push that message. But I think the way it's being communicated sometimes puts off people.
Yeah.
The intentions are good. The methodology, not so much. Because when you come from where I have come, like if you've walked in my shoes, you understand that you don't have much time to think about it and plan and maybe and why not and what have you. You are living through a collapsing system, and that collapse is accelerating. Now, you may not necessarily feel it in the same way I did, because depending on where you live, it's just going to take a little bit longer, but it is failing. And if you're paying attention enough, the signs are crystal clear. In Australia, your first signs were during COVID, right? Like, it couldn't be more abundantly clear that they rounded up the whole country like a bunch of cattle. That's how you were in Australia. You couldn't do anything. Like, if that didn't ring alarm bells, I don't know what it's going to take, right? So you have to start thinking outside the box a bit, and expanding your scope of vision. That these people are not crazy. These people are trying to warn you about a movie that they've lived before, and don't wish it upon you to live, right? So, but it's so new, right? And a lot of people are petrified from technology to begin with, that they just freeze. They're like, oh man, I can't do this. If I even attempt it, it's going to, I'm going to lose and screw up everything. I might as well just leave it. And if I lose it, I lose it. But, I don't want to be the cause of that loss.
Yeah.
But the funny part is, if you do nothing, you're still the cause of that loss, because you're just letting it, dwindle down to nothing. It's a deep rabbit hole and a long conversation. But I think step one is acceptance. You have to accept that there's a problem, and you have to understand that the problem is broken money. It's always been broken money. All of the problems in the world throughout history are linked to that broken money. If you can print paper to infinity, well, you can fund anything, anytime. Where do you think all of these wars came from? Like, how did they happen? Push a button on a printer, blow up a country, kill millions of people. It's a war tool. It's a like fiat money is blood money. But none of us realized this, for such a long time, because you go to work, you get paid, you have a happy life. You don't see what's happening in the background until those horror stories affect you. And I'm guilty of this as well, because I was living the life until it all came to a stop. Like this. There's no warning. There's no signs. I went to bed. I woke up homeless. So if it can happen to me, I promise you it's going to happen to you if you don't snap out of that illusion that I'm going to be okay. You're not.
It's deep, and that podcast that we did last time, where you really dove into Lebanon again. It's in the description for everyone. I really urge you to watch it. But one of the things that you touched on is Bitcoin. Like, it just didn't appear overnight. It was decades in the making. And for the readers out there, a good book is the Genesis book that describes how Bitcoin came into the world, or a really great book that's come out recently is The Big Print by Lawrence Lepard. That will explain how the money is actually broken. He worked on Wall Street for his whole career. He manages a Bitcoin and gold hedge fund. I'll link those below for people. But all right, people are starting to realize that the money is broken, Tony, and Bitcoin is no longer magic internet money, maybe at the start, but it has gone, it's survived, it's grown into one of the world's largest assets. It's been the fastest appreciated asset in all of human history. It was like engineered to be the best form of money. And like you were saying, yes, it is money, but it's like the underlying technology that makes it work and makes it all possible. A lot of people, and as you said, like, they get scared of it because it's something new. So maybe they're like, all right, I need Bitcoin, and they go out and they buy Bitcoin. Most people go through an exchange. It's like similar to stocks and stuff, a brokerage app. You just go onto the website and you transfer money or your fiat currency, and then you can buy Bitcoin. And that's sort of where most people just leave it. Here in Australia, with sort of the bigger exchanges, they're insured up to $250,000. However, if that exchange went bust, yes, you'd get the cash value back, but you wouldn't get the amount of Bitcoin back, and that could take a very long time. So, like, leaving it there is not really a good idea. But then, like, the scarce mindset, I guess, around technology. Oh, I don't want to send it up, because the thing with Bitcoin is if you send it to the wrong place, or if you do something wrong, unfortunately, you can't undo it. The exchange can't, like, refund you your money. They can't pull it back. So, like, when you're talking to people and they're like, I bought some Bitcoin, it's on the exchange, I'm good. Or I bought some Bitcoin. Oh yeah. Where are you protecting it? Oh, I just got it in the ETF. It's just in my brokerage app. For people that have been in Bitcoin for a long time, they know that unless Bitcoin's in self-custody, you're running your own node, and we'll explain what these words mean shortly. It's not your Bitcoin. Like, you have to hold it, and that's like the revolution of Bitcoin. But, like, how do you explain that the technology side of things, it's not scary, it's just something new? How do you start that process to get them comfortable? Because it's not hard. It's just do this, do this, do this, do this, and then go back through and check and fine tune. How are those conversations going with people?
It's personalized, people aren't stupid, okay, but people have been brainwashed for such a long time to normalize the fact that somebody else needs to take care of your money, or that the money can only come from a government or a central bank.
Yeah.
That is fundamentally like the hurdle. Once you break that and you understand that all of this is a scam that you need to get away from, you come to Bitcoin, which is essentially the only sound money we've ever owned. The power behind Bitcoin really is the fact that nobody can control it. There's no government behind it. There's no company behind it. Nobody can make decisions for Bitcoin. Bitcoin is powered by energy, right? It's completely decentralized. That is the power of it. This is why there's Bitcoin and then there's shitcoins, all of that crypto. And the distinction is very easy. Why is Bitcoin so amazing? If you want to forget everything and remember one reason for it, it's because no one can control it. That's it. It doesn't matter what the other things can do. If there's a human being behind it, it's garbage. Forget it. Leave it. You cannot trust it as money. So Bitcoin is technology, and it's not hard, but people assume it's hard because of one thing. They know that if they make a mistake, it's game over. They lose the funds, which is true. It's a valid concern. But the steps to self-custody are not rocket science. It's not like we're doing a nuclear physics experiment here. It's not. If you're driving a car, you're already doing something 1,000,000 times more complicated than self-custody. You just have to learn a few steps, repeat them a few times to strengthen your muscle memory. And once that's done, boom, you're set for life. And once you realize this, then I think it really hits folks like, oh my gosh, why haven't I done this? Why has it taken me so long to understand this? This is like almost, a common reaction from everyone that we work with. You need a good teacher. At the Bitcoin Way, that's why we put the team together. I wanted a way to build an army, okay? An army of intellectual people, of knowledgeable people that understand this, so that collectively everybody opts out enough to put an end to the legacy system, which has been ruining everybody's lives for such a long time. You can't go to war with these people, right? Bitcoin is a peaceful revolution. So if you want to win, you need volume. And after what happened to me, I decided that my mission now is to reach as many people as possible and make them as comfortable as I am using money that they can, for the first time in history, 100% own. You don't have to worry about a government threatening you with it. You don't have to worry about your bank threatening to shut you down. You don't have to ask permission from anyone to use it. You want to send funds from point A to point B, irrespective of the amount, it'll take you 30 seconds. You can be sitting on a beach. You could be, having a coffee with a friend. 30 seconds. Done. That is the power of Bitcoin. Peer-to-peer technology, which cannot be stopped. This is something that's also very important to understand and to remember, that there's no force in the universe that can stop peer-to-peer, right? Because it's completely independent from any third party. If I want to send you $1,000, I'll do it. And if I want to send you $1 billion, it's the same procedure. Extremely powerful stuff, and it'll cost me nothing. Peer-to-peer. So when you hear stories, oh, the government's going to shut it down, oh, this is going to destroy it, oh, this is going to destroy it, that is rubbish. It's almost as silly as saying, I'm going to stop the sun from shining or the wind from blowing, right? So, but to get, again, to that level of conviction, you have to understand the tech. And most people still don't do that. And you don't even have to do that. You just have to, I guess, trust in someone that knows their stuff in order to, that's it. You accept it and you move forward in that direction, because the end game here is to protect yourself with something that cannot be taken away from you. And so the revolution in Bitcoin is the self-custody. It's not you buy, it's sound money, the best money the world has ever known. That's one, that's a fact. But in order to really take advantage of this revolution, you have to own it. The days of trusting a third party with anything related to sound money, that must be killed. You have to take it out of your head, completely format that lie that this is a requirement. It is not. The only person that you need to rely on is you. Personal responsibility. If you lose the Bitcoin, yeah, it sucks, but that's how it's supposed to be. Personal responsibility. If you introduce a third party into this mix and something goes wrong, then it's your fault because you've introduced this risk into the equation unnecessarily because you thought you weren't good enough. I can promise you, almost everyone is more than good enough. No one is too stupid to learn a few steps. But you have to remove the fear and build up enough self-confidence to want to do it. And again, all you need is a good teacher. And we are exceptionally good instructors when it comes to this because we break it down into bite-sized pieces that a 10-year-old can comprehend. Most of the folks that we work with are in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and well into their 80s that have never used a computer beyond its most basic functions. All of them, no exceptions, are fully sovereign. They understand self-custody. They hold their Bitcoin 100% themselves with zero institutional assistance. Zero.
Let's go.
Yeah, you understand? So they are completely unconfiscatable, and they are able to pass this knowledge to other folks in their immediate trusted circles themselves, which is, again, our objective here, is to teach so that you can take this knowledge and you continue passing it on to whomever you choose. We want to make everybody fully autonomous, where you don't need anyone. At some point, you won't need us. You won't need anything. You just need yourself and your life to take care of. That's it. That is the power of Bitcoin. So when you buy Bitcoin and you leave it on exchange thinking it's safer, that is a massive risk. When you bring in a third-party institution to custody your Bitcoin because you think it's a smarter bet, that is a massive risk. You are just repeating the same bad habits of leaving money in a bank with Bitcoin, which is 1,000,000 times more valuable than that worthless toilet paper that for decades we thought was money. It is complete insanity once you truly understand what you're holding in your hand, which is the world's most scarcest asset. We have no idea how valuable this is because we're not living 30 or 40 years in the future. But if I can catapult you that far ahead and you see that Bitcoin is going to become the global currency, the world reserve currency, in my head, that is 100% fact. Yeah. And you understand what purchasing power that'll give you while holding just that tiny little amount of it. Because again, it's fixed in supply. Nobody can manipulate it. 21 million. There's 4 or 5 million of them that are already gone. So we're actually dealing with less than this. Take that 16 or 17 million divided by, I don't know, let's be hopeful and say 8 billion people. So that leaves like a tiny little number for every individual. And that's another thing. Don't be discouraged because your number on the screen is such a petty little digit. That's not how it works. One Bitcoin is 100 million Satoshis, right? It's like the dollar has 100 cents. One Bitcoin has 100 million Satoshis. At some point, the purchasing power of one Satoshi will surpass that of $1. This is why they say it's generational wealth. So if somebody's holding one Bitcoin, at some point in the very near future, that'll be unheard of. You're like, what? How the hell did you get one Bitcoin? It's like, holy shit, it's like a big deal. And there are a lot of people, there's enough people today that understand this, that are holding way more than one Bitcoin. This is why I say that your window to act is not that big anymore. Unfortunately, now you have governments and big institutions that understand Bitcoin the way we understand it.
Yeah.
And what are they doing?
Stacking sats.
They are FOMOing into this. They are killing each other to see who gets more of it, right?
So one thing on that, like Sailor this week coming out 2.4% of the Bitcoin supply, over 500,000 coins under one company. That's one company. There's no way Trump's like looking at him. Donald Trump, the president of the United States, like this little tiny company's got more Bitcoin than we do. Trump wants to win. He'll want to have 1 million Bitcoin. So that's 1.5 million Bitcoin gone. Like
Sailor's been an impressive force in this in this space for sure. I mean, he was a bit controversial at times with things that he said, but besides the point, I don't know. That's just in my opinion. I suspect, and this is again just my personal suspicions here, that MicroStrategy or strategy will likely become part of the US government Bitcoin reserve. Because if you remember, they mentioned budget friendly, right? Like not using taxpayers' money. So, I mean, there's many ways to do it, but what's the quickest way? Align yourself with someone who already has a considerable portion, right? So if you think he's not going to become a bank or has plans to do this, you're very naive.
Oh, 100% he's going to become a bank.
They're all going to become banks because they want to sell services to the masses, which they know understand nothing. So that's how they're going to make money off of you. The revolution here, the generational wealth opportunity, is to own the base layer on chain. Like when you go now to your whatever exchange it may be, and you buy that Bitcoin and you withdraw it to self-custody, you are owning a UTXO, like your on-chain Bitcoin, the real deal. That is going to be like a wet dream in the very, very near future. Most people will not be able to do this. They will benefit from Bitcoin on like layer 2, 3, 4, whatever it may be, by at some point starting to earn it, because your purchasing power in your local currency is going to disappear, and so you're not going to want to work it. As is, most people are working for free unknowingly, but now at that point they can't buy anything literally, and so they're going to look for an exit, and that exit will be getting paid in satoshis. And so once the world standardizes enough on a Bitcoin standard, prices go down. Life for people already living on a Bitcoin standard, they don't know inflation. Life for them is actually cheaper and in many cases free, because you're going the opposite direction of the fiat money, right? Like if you're making your income you're living on a Bitcoin standard, you're making your income in Bitcoin, and someone else that is doing it in fiat, right? Everything for the fiat person is getting more expensive, but because of inflation and all that other bullshit that's going on. But as this thing happens, your purchasing power is going up. So for you, the prices are coming down, right? It's like when they use that classic house example. 5 years ago, you can buy like a nice home for 300 Bitcoin. Just 5 years ago. That same house today, if you wanted to buy it, will cost you, 4 or 5 Bitcoin, right? Yeah. So if you were living on a Bitcoin standard, accumulating Bitcoin, making Bitcoin, earning Bitcoin, whatever it may be, but on a Bitcoin standard, and you just waited 5 years, instead of paying 300 coins for it, now you're paying 5 coins for the same product. But the individual working for fiat can't afford that house anymore because its price has gone parabolic in fiat numbers.
Yeah.
So you see, it's like there are two extremes. One is deflation, one is inflationary, the fiat rubbish, and one is deflationary, Bitcoin, finite supply. So purchasing power goes up forever. So, but you have to own it. You have to own it. Again, that is the revolution. And owning it requires you learning steps. So you need to become familiar with encrypted vaults, air-gapped wallets, Bitcoin nodes. All of these are new terms that a lot of people haven't even heard.
Yeah.
But they're plain English. We're not talking, some alien language here. And we're very strict about the process of self-custody. Like, I come from cybersecurity, so my brain is OCD paranoid. That's how I'm wired. I don't pick just anything to do my self-custody. When you understand that this is so valuable, you go out of your way to make sure that you're always using the best of the best of all the products that are required for this process, and you're continuously fine-tuning it.
Yeah.
Like, it almost becomes an obsession, right? Because now you are the bank. Every individual is the head of security. And it's very exciting. It shouldn't be daunting.
Yeah, it is.
It should be the complete opposite. Like, when in the world did you think
It's
you were going
empowering.
to be your own Swiss bank? Like, can you fucking imagine? Sean is his own Swiss bank. Like, it's one of the most exciting opportunities human beings will ever know.
Yeah.
Right? And all it takes is a few hours of learning a few steps.
Yeah.
And once you get it, it'll be as normal as having a cup of coffee, right? So that is the objective here, where we want people to come in, not afraid, but excited to learn this.
Yeah.
Again, every human being has enough intellectual capacity and strength to do this.
Yeah. It's like you said, man, it is so empowering, and like it gave me a sense of purpose back, I guess, in my life, like a sense of agency. If I could take control of the money, I could take control of everything else. It just whatever it was, but right at the start, it was scary. And then like I worked it out and I pieced it all together by watching YouTube videos and reading blogs and stuff. And like that took, I don't know, 20, 30, 40, 50 hours of just going back and fine tuning and doing stuff. And I had a pretty cool setup. Like I thought it was pretty good. Then I came to you guys and you're like, nah, rubbish. Like, let's start again. And we're like, okay, like let's start again. And then we did it. And then from there, like friends, family, I've sent through to you. So obviously you're the founder of the Bitcoin Way. Under every video, I link your link there. But a couple of things for the audience. Number one, the first 30 minutes is free. Tony, in 2 secs, you can talk on that a little bit more. But number two, like I think the greatest thing that you guys have really done for just anybody out there is this quiz. You go into your landing page, it'll pop up if you just wait there. But if you go resources, and then the Bitcoin security quiz takes like 2-3 minutes to be able to go through. And it's absolutely amazing. Before I came to you guys, Tony, I would have got like, I don't know what the points are. Maybe it's like whatever out of 21. I would have got like 2, 3 maybe. And now I'm like right up at the top there. And there's like 1 or 2 maybe small tweaks I could do, but I'm comfortable with not doing those at the moment, working closely with yourself. So I'd urge everyone, it's free. Jump on there. I'll link directly to the quiz below. And then you can also reach out for a free 30-minute call. But do you just want to tell them why maybe someone, if they are curious, they should reach out to you? It's not going to cost them a cent. It's going to obviously take their time up, but it's, I think, time well worth spending.
Absolutely, man. I mean, we welcome everybody to reach out. The first 30 minutes are free. We just want to get to know you, answer any questions or concerns you may have, because I'm sure a lot of folks have all sorts of ideas, floating through their heads that they're wondering about and what have you. And this is really what it's about, is to put you at ease with anything that you may still be uncomfortable with, and to just reconfirm that this is not daunting. Like, we're not going to be climbing Mount Everest here. We're going to be interacting in a very fun way to make you now the head of security. Like, you are going to become your own bank. Like, this is the most amazing thing you can possibly, have in your life now.
Hell yeah.
Fully, like, you're the king or the queen now, fully unconfiscatable. See, Bitcoin, it's 3 things, right? It's a store of value. It's like, if you want to think of it, like the closest thing I can think of is like gold, but it's like a million times better than gold because of its finite supplies. So its value will continue to rise. More importantly, it's also a medium of exchange. It's money. Okay. So I can pay you with it in the same way I pay for items, like in dollars or euros. Bitcoin is money.
Yeah.
So don't fall for the narrative that it's just a store of value, like you only hold it. That's complete rubbish. Bitcoin is money, and it has to be used as money in order for it to thrive and remain decentralized and remain as powerful as it is. And that is happening. So, and it's also a unit of account. We've never had something, in this world that has these three characteristics in one. So imagine like the multiplier benefits of all of these things combined in one asset that you fully own. It's like, I don't know, man. It's like, if you want to go like creative with this, think of you living on some, like Superman planet, and you're holding this magic rock that is like the ultimate power of, infinite purchasing power. You can use a similar analogy to Bitcoin. As crazy as that sounds, it's true. But you have to have it. If you knew that this is like the ultimate beacon of power and wealth, would you trust a third party with it? Or would you be so flippant, leaving it on an exchange or calling up a company to help you set it up, letting them know how much of it you own and what you do with it on a 24/7 basis? You'd have to be insane to do this. But the reason
Tony,
why
just on that at that point, because I think that's like extremely important. Like obviously the Bitcoin way never touches anyone's keys. You don't know how much people hold either. Can you just talk to that point and why you went about doing that? Also, like from your perspective as well, because it's not really good to know what other people hold in Bitcoin.
Absolutely. I mean, privacy is paramount, and we stick to that ethos, religiously. First of all, we're not a financial institution, so we don't KYC you. None of your information stays with us. We don't even need to know who you are. You can sign up as Superman for all I care, and would still help you. Our purpose here is education, nothing else. So we don't hold your Bitcoin. We don't sign any of your transactions. Okay. And we have no eyes on what you're doing. You're the bank. This is your money. This is your business. This is your life. That's how it's supposed to be, right? We just help you build that infrastructure in a way that is bulletproof. And we give you the skills so that you can always stay on top of it. And of course, we're always in the background whenever you need us, in case you want to fine tune something, change something, have any questions you want answered. You're connected to the team 24/7 as an active client for as long as you want. Our mission here is to really push out a self-sovereign lifestyle. So one, you own your money, Bitcoin in self-custody. Then if you want, you can secure all the devices that you use to manage the money. That's where our cybersecurity set of services come in. De-Googled privacy phones, personal cybersecurity. All of that stuff is important because they all tie in somehow to you being the bank. And then last but not least, if you're not happy where you're living, Plan B residency programs, we help you with that as well. There's plenty of places out there that will not harass you, that will not threaten you with unrealized capital gains, that will not even tax you in some places, that will leave you alone to live the life that you want to live on your own terms. As long as you're not breaking any legitimate laws, nobody cares about you. You live a happy life. You surround yourself with people that you want. You meet, other Bitcoiners, because we focus on areas where we try to build Bitcoin circular economies. And so it's a great way to meet a lot of folks like you, me, and all that. And you have, like a pied-à-terre to come to where people that you align with, even though you've just met them for the first time, it almost feels like you've known them your entire existence. And so these three things, in my opinion, will give you an unbelievable life. And if you have kids, it's almost like a must that you think about this for their sake. Because why would you want them to succumb to a life of tyranny, censorship, get stuck in a central bank digital currency, which is essentially like the ultimate slave chain, which is coming because it's very clear they've announced it. They're coming this year. Okay. Yeah. So if you don't want to live that life, just know that there's a real option. It's not a hallucination. It's not Mickey Mouse money. It's not cypherpunk criminal money. All of this is nonsense. If it was, why would governments and institutions now all of a sudden are going completely nuts trying to accumulate as much as possible? In the past, there's a funny saying, if governments hate it, you absolutely want it. Right? So, yeah. So it started off that way. And people who understood this, the early OGs, right? Those are the ones who got this, and they're sitting, laughing right now. But Bitcoin's future, for those that are, think that they've missed the boat, which is completely wrong. Yeah. Bitcoin's future is exponentially bigger than what you think you've missed in the past. Back then, there was like nothing, a handful of people paying attention to it. Now, there's 900 trillion worth of assets at some point that are going to be, funneled through this, and 8 billion people paying attention. So if you think you've missed the boat because you didn't get it at $1 or a penny, get that thought out of your head. Bitcoin at its current price, at 87, whatever it is price, that is going to be the equivalent of that 1 penny very, very soon. Yeah. And when that day happens, it's because the fiat currency has completely collapsed to zero. So don't get too excited thinking, I have $100 million. That dollar is as useful as, soiled paper by then. But the good news, you won't need to denominate anything in dollars. You'll be denominating everything in Satoshis now. Prices of the world will go down to their utility value on a Bitcoin standard. Homes that are worth millions of dollars are going to crash to a tiny little amount. It's utility value. There's no such thing as a house that's worth $20 million, right? It doesn't cost $20 million to build a $20 million home. So real estate, in my opinion, is headed for a serious haircut. And as the world transitions to a Bitcoin standard, all of these things are going to change. It's history in the making. Like I told you in the beginning, I think this is way bigger than both electricity and the internet combined, because it is linked to the one thing that everybody must have. It's not optional. You need money to live, right? It's not like maybe I need it. You have to live. You need it.
Unfortunately,
Yeah. So that's why, like, if you're looking at this with like a doubtful eye, please, I urge you to sit down and spend some time reading up on it, or at least asking questions, and come to the conclusion that you now want to become your own bank, because you don't need to deal with anyone anymore. You make your own decisions the way you see fit. And when the power of money is in your hands, you can do this now. Any other way you structure this will not work, given a long enough time frame. You will at some point run into a problem when you have a third party involved in your life around your money. From my experience, I can almost guarantee you that this is going to happen. Whether it's money on an exchange, whether it's involving an institution in the custodying of your Bitcoin because you think it's safer, they hold the backup key and all that rubbish. That will blow up in your face in some way, shape, or form at some point, right? Keep in mind, when you sign up for most of these things, they will KYC you. For those that don't know, it means know your customer. You have to give up all of your identification, your passport, your ID, the color of your underwear, whatever it is that they ask you, you have to give it to them. Otherwise, they will not open up an account for you. You have to trust that these folks have the skill set and the will to protect that data with their dear life. Do you trust that they do? I don't, because I've seen them one by one at some point fail. Because doing cybersecurity the way it's supposed to costs a lot of money, right? And no one's going to want to spend that much of their resources protecting things that they don't really care about. So if that data gets hacked, leaked, whatever it may be, your info now is in the hands of a very intelligent person with very bad intentions. And I can assure you these things are going to continue to rise as the value of Bitcoin appreciates and more people understand what we've been talking about here for an hour. So if that gets leaked, you have a problem. Second of all, privacy. A lot of people dismiss it. What do I care? You have to care, because when you have a third party involved in your business, they know 24/7 what you're doing. Them being nice people is irrelevant to the bottom line here. Maybe you don't care because Bitcoin's not high enough. But when Bitcoin becomes worth millions of dollars, most people will not want people knowing what it is that they're doing, even if they like these people. It's not about dismissing people as bad people. It's just, sticking to principles.
Yeah.
My money, my life, my business. If I want to share it with you, that's my decision. It's not a de facto thing that I'm going to give up just because I like you, right? So that's another thing. And another risk with a third party that they don't tell you is that if one day, they get coerced by a government, are you going to be their main priority? Probably not.
Unfortunately, if the government comes after them, they literally do not have a choice, and they will.
They will comply in 30 seconds, and they will throw you under the bus right after. Because that's how people are. That's how businesses function, right? So why put yourself in that predicament in the first place when there is, again, for the first time ever, an option not to do so? All our services, by the way, are one-time fees. Everything is paid in Bitcoin. We have no fiat rails. So that just to put that out there, we accept zero fiat, no matter what. We stick to the ethos. We're a Bitcoin company. We don't want anything to do with fiat. So that's one. They're all one-time fees paid in Bitcoin. There's no memberships. There's no subscriptions. We don't charge you a percentage of your Bitcoin to give you the service that you need, right? That is insane. That is like a wealth tax. Why would you do that? So cybersecurity, self-custody, easy steps to learn. Anyone can do it. You don't need a tech background. You just need a good teacher. You learn the skills. We drill you. Navy SEAL training. At the end of it, most people, we never hear from them again. And that's good, because that's how I know that I've trained a perfect head of security that can take care of themselves. And hopefully they can take that knowledge and they will carry on this mission forever. That's how decentralization of knowledge continues to grow. This is the world I want to live in. And this is what we push forward here at the Bitcoin Way.
I've spoken to quite a fair amount of people now that have gone through the Bitcoin Way, and shout out, you know exactly who you are, and you're definitely watching this video as well. And they've all said exactly the same thing. I had no idea what I was doing beforehand, and it's like water off a duck's back. It's just so natural. It's just so easy and simple for them, and they just know what to do. There's not that fear when you first buy Bitcoin of, is it going to go to the wrong place? These are the steps, they do it, they're happy, they can carry on with their life, and they can sort of forget about it. So, Tony, never stop. I know it's your life mission, but it's so, I don't know how to say it, politically correct, but it's so fucking important that people get their Bitcoin off the exchange, that they're holding self-custody. Ladies and gentlemen, the first 30 minutes is free. Just reach out, talk to them. If you already think you're doing an amazing job, do the 3-minute quiz. Find out if you are. And just by going through the quiz, when you answer the questions, you'll realize where you're starting to fuck up or where it may not be as good as it could be. Because when you get this right, I think Tony said it earlier, but it truly is fuck you money. You become unconfiscatable, and that's the whole point. But Tony, thank you so much for just the work and who you are in the world. I truly appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Sean. I genuinely appreciate that, man. Thank you very much.
It's absolutely incredible. For everyone, I'm going to put that video that Tony dove into Lebanon up on the screen next. Watch it. It's deep. You've been warned, but it's the best conversation that I've ever had on this channel. Tony, again, thank you so much. Peace.
Thank you. Thank you, Sean. Happy to be here anytime, man.